Welcome back to the Dragon Den. My loyal Dragonites, King of Dragons 5000 is back with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the Medicom Toys Mafex Avengers Endgame Iron Man Mark 85, the battle damaged version. And so here we have the Mark 85 posing out of the packaging, and I have to say I'm thoroughly impressed with this figure. Before I get ahead of myself, let's actually run through his accessories. Iron Man does have 3 different head sculpts which look really nice, as well as several sets of hands for style posing. He also comes with a nano gauntlet and 2 separate hands for that. And then of course he does come with repulsor effects. Compared to the previous Iron Man figures we've had a look at, this Iron Man is fairly light on accessories. However, this figure actually shines in the detail department, so with his accessories out of the way, let's move on to his details. The battle damage Mark 85 is looking really nice, and I have to say I'm very impressed with what Medicom did here. When I first saw this figure I thought I was going to have some new parts but mostly retooling, but overall I have to say I'm happy with what they did here. He is using the exact same Tony Stark head that we saw with that original Mark 85 figure, and it still looks really impressive. You can see some scrapes and cuts on this figure, and his face is rather dirty, especially with the blood dripping down the right side. I kind of feel like they missed the mark with his hair. It could have been much more messy, but overall it still looks really nice. Taking a look at the rest of his armor, this is a really well detailed armor. It looks just like that original figure, but it has a lot of battle damage to it. The arc reactor is still a blue piece of plastic behind that clear piece of plastic, which looks nice, and the battle damage on his chest looks phenomenal. We have a giant impact mark underneath his arc reactor, and on the right side it's really scraped and torn, and he's missing a bunch of armor on the left side. On the back of his armor it's still battle damage, just not as much damage as on the back as you would expect. The shoulder armor bits are also really nicely damaged, as you can see some cracks starting to form on each shoulder. The golds also have this really nice silver poking through, and you can see all these burn marks throughout his armor, which is also really nice. And on his gauntlets you can see some of the red armor is actually missing, exposing the silver armor underneath his red armor. His hands are rather clean, which is quite disappointing honestly. The leg armor also has that really nice gold paint, but just like with the rest of it, you can see a bunch of battle damage going throughout each leg. Dings in the armor, cracks, and actually missing parts does make it feel like Iron Man has seen a lot of battle. And on the lower legs you can see there are some paint scuffs, but there isn't much battle damage on the lower part of his legs, which is kind of strange. Although the red is kind of dirty in some places and you can see some of the silver starting to poke through, it still looks really nice, but could have been more battle damaged honestly. And the feet have no battle damage to speak of, and just like with the original Mark 85, these feet are done in die cast. So overall the detailing here on this Mark 85 is rather impressive. I'm actually blown away by the amount of detail that went into this figure. The red is nice and bright and the golds are nice and vibrant, however you can see a bunch of black burn marks throughout the figure, and it just makes this figure look so much better. So with the details out of the way, let's get him compared to our usual suspects. Here we have Iron Man posed next to the Marvel Legends Cyclops and DC Multiverse Superman. Mattel's WWE Elite Series and Mezco's 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man, the Lightning Collection White Ranger, and the Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And finally we have the battle damaged Mark 85 posed next to the original Mark 85 and the Mark 50. If you have that original Mafex Iron Man figure, you pretty much know how he'll scale next to the rest of your collection. And because he is an import figure, he'll scale closer to actual 1/12 scale. So with his comparisons out of the way, let's move on to Iron Man's articulation. Iron Man has a ball joint in the head and a ball joint in the neck. He has butterfly joints and a ball jointed shoulder. Arms go out to the side and do a full 360. Swivel at the bicep and double hinged elbows. Ball hinges in the wrist. Double ball joint in his upper torso and ball jointed lower torso. Ball hinge in the hips, kick forward, kick back, out to the side, thigh swivel, and he does have a ball joint in his thigh. Double hinge in his knees, ball hinge in the ankle, and then he has a toe joint. So the standard articulation we've come to expect from Mafex, especially when it comes to Iron Man figures. So with everything said and done, let's get the Mafex Iron Man Mark 85 battle damage version posed for my final thoughts. Mafex is known for some amazing detail, and the battle damage Mark 85 is no different. Taking what was already a great figure and making it even better with that battle damage makes this a very impressive Iron Man figure. The colors on this Iron Man armor are some of my favorite. The reds look really vibrant, the golds are beautiful, and the fact that it's nice and battle damage does give this figure a really nice touch. All the battle scarring looks really good, from the damage in the armor to the missing parts in his armor. It's very impressive, and Mafex has done a great job here. One thing I am happy to report is a lot of those original parts on the Mark 85 do fit on the Mark 85 battle damaged version. Something I do have to point out is the quality on this figure feels much better than that original Mark 85 figure. All the joints are nice and tight and move perfectly, with probably the loosest part actually being his neck. But one thing I really love about this figure is the nano gauntlet. The fact that they were able to put the energy coursing through it looks really good here. The blue paint crackling down his forearm looks really impressive, and I kinda wish that Mafex actually gave us an extra arm to attach to go with the nano gauntlet. One thing I am a little bit disappointed in is the Tony Stark heads. They are way too similar to be called different, and I know that there is a little bit more burn marks on one, but I kind of would have liked to see some more battle damage on one of them. That subtle burn mark on the right side of his face really doesn't cut it. I would have loved to see a more scarred up version. If you're a fan of Avengers Endgame, which I'm pretty sure you are if you're watching this video, this is one figure I think you should add to your collection. Everything comes together nicely, and the modularity with that original figure does make this worth the pickup. If you are looking for the battle damage Mark 85, I did pick mine up from HobbyLink Japan. So with that being said, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and check out all my other action figure and Marvel Avengers Endgame videos. Check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, videos, recent pickups, latest prints, and as always, ring that bell so you never miss another video. And until next time, my fellow Dragonites coming from the Dragon Den, I'm King of Dragons 5000 reminding you to redesign, rebuild, and reclaim. I'll see you next time.